Alita Battle Angel 2 is definitely in the making after Jon Lando's comments about the sequel to Cameron's 2019 movie. The writers, the directors, the producers, and even the actors are on board for the sequel, but there is one problem. You see, James Cameron has been hoping to make this movie since 2003. He read Gunm as a Japanese comic created by Yukito Kishiro, and he knew that Alita would be a perfect character for the big screen. However, the project was put off for approximately 16 years. In 2019, the movie was finally released. With a budget of $200 million, the movie returned $405 million at the box office. It didn't follow the stellar performance of Avatar, but we have to remember that this is the first time Alita has been introduced in a movie. It's a new character, and it's normal for fans to be a little reluctant to see it. However, this allows the studio to familiarize fans with the character.
What are you dreaming, little angel?
That way, Alita will have more fans waiting for the sequel than they had for the first movie. Speaking of which, we're pleased to tell you that armies of fans went to see Alita and were geared up about a possible sequel. The critics weren't too thrilled about the movie, but on Metacritic, where they gave it a score of 53 out of 100, we're talking about 49 people. Most of the reviews were average, with a few who loved and a few who hated the movie. Luckily, there are millions of people who went to watch the movie and can't wait for the sequel. Speaking of which, Alita Battle Angel had the perfect ending and a perfect cliffhanger to a futuristic sci-fi movie. The movie takes place in the year 2563, about 300 years after an event called the Fall. One of the cyborgs from the insurgents survived the war even after 3 centuries. She was discovered by Dr. Dyson Ido at a scrapyard, but doesn't remember anything about her past. Iron City, the town where all of the action takes place, is governed by Smash That Like button, just like you should do if you haven't done so already. But no, in all seriousness, Iron City is governed by Vector. He's the owner of the factory, and he also owns the Motorball, which is pretty much like the Colosseum, but for robots. The robots have to race each other for money. Alita gets into an altercation with another robot by the name of Grewishka. She's able to best Grewishka and his gang of cyborg serial killers using Panzerkunst. This ancient technique was lost 300 years ago, but Alita brought it back. Now, this female cyborg believes that she can get access to her lost memory by fighting. Soon after, Alita finds the abandoned body of a berserker cyborg. She wants to be installed into it, but Ido refuses. After another fight with Grewishka, the scientist relents and transplants Alita into the body of Berserker. With a new body, she's finally able to enter the Motorball tryout. Why would she do this? Because she wants to send her newfound boyfriend Hugo to Zalem. You see, Zalem is the city in the sky where all of the richest people live. Hugo's lifelong dream is to make enough money to visit Zalem. He thought that he could do this by stealing parts from cyborgs, but that usually gets him to more trouble. Because of his checkered past, he calls Alita in the middle of the Motorball tryout race and asks for her help. Alita abandons the race and goes to help him. However, Zapan, a guy Hugo worked for, appears and mortally wounds Hugo. Alita disfigures Zapan in a fight using her new berserker body and takes his Damascus blade. Meanwhile, Hugo's consciousness is transplanted into a cyborg body. Dr. Ido saves his life.
All that stuff is dumped from Zalem. So you must be from up there.
Meanwhile, they find out that Hugo could never go to Zalem City without first becoming Motorball champion. To say that Alita was pissed would be the understatement of the century. She immediately goes to Vector and confronts him. He sends Grewishka to kill Alita, but she manages to slice him in half with her new Damascus blade. She talks to Nova, the leader of Zalem, through Vector. Nova threatens Alita and her friends, after which Alita is so angry she impales Vector. After the threat, Hugo attempts to go to Zalem by scaling a cargo tube up to the city. Alita gets to him in time, but the serrated defense rings dropped by Nova chop Hugo's body in pieces. Fast forward a few months, and now Alita is a champion of the Motorball tournament. As the crowd around her cheers her name, Alita points her Damascus blade towards Zalem. Nova watches her and smirks down at her. Now do you see why we said this movie ended on a perfect cliffhanger? It's as if James Cameron and his co-writer Laeta Kalogridis were clearing the script for what's about to come in the sequel. Speaking of which, we should tell you what Jon Landau said in an interview about the movie. During the premiere for Avatar: The Way of Water, Landau had this to say about the possibility of Alita Battle Angel 2. Smash that subscribe button just like you should do if you haven't done so already. But no, seriously now, he said, well, there's a little film called Alita Battle Angel that we'd love to circle back and do a sequel to. Been talking to Robert Rodriguez about that, and hopefully that comes to fruition.
Are the scum of the game. But tonight you are handpicked scum.
Now, he didn't officially announce that there would be a sequel to the movie, but he did hint at the possibility of one. We know that the decision to make a sequel is not an easy one, especially now that James Cameron is preoccupied with Avatar: The Way of Water and a third installment in the making. This is the main reason he left his 16-year passion project to be directed by Jon Landau. Cameron wanted to do it, but he simply didn't have the time. Also, this statement is very important because he didn't reply specifically to the possibility of Alita: Battle Angel 2. He said that the three of them, along with James Cameron and Robert Rodriguez, were all hoping to make the sequel.
Bounty for the cyborg Nisyana was 20,000 credits.
So it's very possible that Cameron will not let go of his initial idea to make Alita: Fallen Angel and Alita: Avenging Angel in the future. That's right, Cameron plans to turn Alita into a trilogy, of course, if everything goes according to plan and the previous movies are just as successful as the first one.
I love you.
But this will not happen anytime soon. Even though there's a big possibility Alita: Battle Angel 2 is gonna be made, we still don't have an official release date at the moment. In another interview, Landau talked about how long it would actually take to make the sequel to Alita. He said, "You've got to assume that's going to take you 12 to 18 months to write a script. Assuming that script is great, you then have a 6 to 10 month pre-production, and you then have a 6-month shoot, and then you have a year of post-production, and that's just any movie of this ilk." So are the actors on board with filming a sequel in the future? Well, actress Rosa Salazar, who played the title character in Cameron's movie, said that she will fight to make Alita 2 happen until the end of time. Then she jokingly added, "Thanks to performance capture technology, I could do this movie whenever. I could perform the sequel in 5 years, but I don't think it should take that long. I think that it's a story that should continue." In the sequel, two-time Academy Award winner Christoph Waltz also said that he would be glad to be back in the role of Dr. Dyson Ido, and he added that he was a little bummed out that the sequel didn't come sooner. Edward Norton, whom we got to see only near the end of the movie, is gonna become the main villain of Alita: Battle Angel 2, ever since Mahershala Ali's character Vector got annihilated by Alita. Speaking of the main villain, for the second movie, we think that Alita is not only gonna go after Nova in Zalem, but she'll also probably try to find the remains of Hugo and piece him back together. Also, we know that Nova will have time to prepare for the fight of a lifetime, so maybe he will unleash a full army of robots on Alita, attempting to get her before she gets him. Whatever happens, we just hope it happens ASAP. Check out these videos next.